Good morning. Happy Labor Day and welcome back to Coffee Time.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Two buddies on Labor Day. Good morning, everybody. Happy Labor Day to those of you who are in the U.S. It is a day off today and tomorrow from school, but we have a fun, full episode for you today. We are going to be looking at, and I'm sorry, I forgot to say, welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. I'm Deanna.
I'm Jocelyn.
I'm Teddy, or Theodore.
Or Theodore, or close enough. And today we're going to be looking at this view on this book called Rich Roots by Charlotte Bell on an extended episode. And following this episode, there is a Zoom link in this video, in the description, if you want to Zoom with Charlotte Bell after this episode. So about 1 hour from now, at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, there will be a Zoom call with Charlotte Bell following this episode. Good morning, everybody. How are you on this happy Monday? Off for lots of people, right?
Yeah.
And off for Teddy. Teddy is... I'll scroll down so you can see who's saying good morning. No, don't touch my computer. Only I touch my computer. I'm super edgy today. Labor Day edginess.
Edginess.
Hilarious. Hilarious.
Good morning to Catherine in sunny Smoky, Idaho. Oh, man.
Hello.
Oh, man. And Carol's in Washington. She says, a beautiful sunny 66-degree day. Wisconsin, Washington, I'm sorry. Yeah, it is. It's getting to be nice weather, isn't it?
Going down the stairs.
She's doing some video bombing in the background. Christine, oh, you're going down the stairs. Remember that, going down the stairs behind the couch like this, or riding the elevator? Do you remember doing those things?
Yeah.
That's always funny.
I want to see some comics.
Don't touch the computer. Christine, good morning in Brockport, New York. Wonderful, breezy, sunny day. Oh, that sounds so heavenly. Anita, good morning. Happy Labor Day. Thank you so much. We are having a nice day off. It is beautiful weather. And Gami logged on from Cape Cod. Gami's on Cape Cod for a few days. She's on vacation, but she can't miss coffee time. And she can't miss seeing her little buddy here.
Yes.
And Lisa says, happy Labor Day from Pennsylvania. Tara, happy Labor Day. Great to see you. Doreen, happy Labor Day in upstate New York. Enjoy. Cindy is on. Happy Labor Day. Happy coffee time. Linda is on in New Jersey. It is fun. It is fun having a holiday. You know, the kids only just went back to school. What I was going to say was for those of you who are writing and asking, thank you so much for taking an interest. I had a big meeting with the town on Friday. I spoke for the better part of 2 hours on behalf of Teddy, getting him into a normal program here in town. And he is going to be starting with a tutor on Wednesday because we're off today and tomorrow. And hopefully getting into a good program at school. That'll be really nice. He'll be really happy. So far, so good. Christine. Suze, good morning. Thumbs up.
Sue.
Thank you. Happy Labor Day. Kaz, good to see you. A day off school, so you're here with us. Your owls look amazing, completely amazing with your dyed fabrics. They look way better than mine. I love the colors that you did, and those are your unique colors. So congrats on some really nice work again. Kirsten, good to see you. Good morning. Beverly, good morning. Foggy Pacific Northwest. Yeah, where it's fog and smoke. It's such a big country, isn't it, Ted? There's such different weather across.
I really like being in the studio,
Yeah.
recording videos.
He does. He likes it being here. You want to come a little bit closer so you're not cut off?
Oh.
And Mom says, look at those 2 pop-up dolls. That's right. They were there for quite a while. I couldn't have stayed hiding under the table for that long, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Patricia, happy Labor Day. Good to see you. And Suze. Papa's on. Say, hey, Papa.
Hi, Dad.
Doreen says hi to both of you. Barbara, good morning. Good to see you. Dave, good morning. Dave says hi to you and Jess. I am lucky to have such great helpers.
Hi, April.
I am. I'm just kidding.
Hi, April.
Oh, good. You're reading the comments. Donna's on.
Hi, everyone. Hi,
Teddy and
everyone.
Ted. She says hi from
Great
Tennessee.
news for Teddy.
Yeah, you love reading your name on those comments, don't you? Look at everybody's.
Wonderful news, Teddy.
That is wonderful news,
So
isn't it?
good to see everyone.
That's so good to see everybody. It's great to be together on a holiday. He has been waiting for so long. Ever since your last appearance on Coffee Time, you've been waiting to come on and co-host with me, huh? And this will probably be it for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, it is fantastic news. We'll see how it goes. We're not out of the woods yet, but we'll see how it goes. Mama was on for, like I said, the better part of 2 hours talking to these people, and I didn't say anything truly naughty, but I said some things that were right there at the edge. Quite a few. quite a few things right there on the edge.
Today we will be
yeah.
reading Rich Roots.
Yeah, we're not going to read the book in its entirety, but we're going to be looking at this book. This is our theme for today.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out why our screen went that color. Okay, there we go. There we go.
Yeah, don't worry.
No,
It's
you
just
keep track.
center stuff.
It's just, yeah, you know better than I what's going on with the computer. Oh, you're welcome, Kat. And Jenny logged on. Happy Labor Day,
Hi,
Jenny. Catherine says hello to you.
Hi, Catherine.
Oh, right.
Fantastic news, Teddy. Happy to see you, Teddy.
That's right. Fantastic news. When all the butts are in school, that is the right state of affairs. After a year and a half of craziness, it would be a nice thing for all the little birds to be in their little nests.
Or just a year, because...
Yeah, it was a year and a half.
Yeah, it was a year and a half.
We won't go into a day count. But we are having a great weekend, right? And I just wanted to show you a couple of things before we go into our content today, because it's a very full show for you today. Rich Roots. I just wanted to let you know I am aware that it is September. Nobody's bugging me at all, but I'm bugging myself because I am so slow with the kit this month, and I am so sorry. I'm going to do a blog a little bit later. Can you hold those two edges, baby?
Okay.
The two side ones?
No, the two
No,
sides.
these two side ones. Yep, you hold those two, and I'll hold these two, because I haven't blocked it yet. I haven't finished it yet. But I'm getting there. Pull it your way, sweetie. Pull it your way. Yep. I'm getting there on the September kit. I'm loving the way it's coming out. I'm a bit overwhelmed right now. So the background is like the blackboard slate in this sort of green color, and I put in kind of a child's drawing with color changing, colors that I thought referred to chalk. And again, I put the year of my birth, 1972, on the little schoolhouse. This is one of these patterns that you could customize so easily. And I did this kind of school bus yellow mixed with the same colors that I thought were kind of colors of chalk around the border. Let me hold the border closer. I think the border's coming out real well. I really love the way that the colors are changing and moving around the border. So that's going to be coming out. I'm going to photograph them, post it today, and I know I've said this before and you're not going to believe me, but I will post the Frida Kahlo thing right after this episode. It took a little time putting this episode together. We took a day off yesterday, so we're a little bit behind, but I am going to put both of those things up as soon as we are done.
And also milk, I think I changed the name to Ice Cow.
Yeah, for your own pattern.
Yeah, I went onto my computer once I thought about it again, and then I think the design will be pretty nice.
I think the design's very nice.
Yeah, and also probably will work good on a shirt. Yeah,
we'll also work on a shirt. Well, we don't actually sell the shirts. A different company sells those. We just order them and we pay them for them too. But I'm going to wear that on a shirt. If you move your head a little bit, his other design is back here that I was punching. Move your head that way. One of his Halloween designs, it says, I scream, you scream, we all scream for Halloween. I'm in the middle of punching that, and I was making what I thought was a fantastic, in-depth, wonderful how-to punch video using that as an example. And one of the main things I wanted to show in teaching the video was how to do the letters, and how with punch you always need to be thinking in reverse, since punch is done in reverse, right? So I reversed the letters, I transferred them on, I put them on a light box, right? I traced them out, all live on the video. And then I realized I had done it in reverse. I had reversed it in reverse, completely screwed it up. So then I was right at that crossroads of having to bring the thing out in the parking lot, drive over it, set it on fire, et cetera, et cetera. But I pulled it back a little bit.
Wait, actually setting it on fire?
No, of course not. I pulled it back quite a bit.
Mom's sus. Mom is sus.
Mom is sus. That means suspect or suspicious. I pulled it back quite a bit, and I'm trying to now change the video to be what to do when you make a mistake, how to come back for it without losing your mind too late. But, everybody has to be who they are, right? Oh, Sue says she noticed. I know, you're waiting for the Frida Kahlo. I will get that out, and I will get the September kit out.
I
love the September kit. My daughter just got her first teaching job. This is perfect. That's what I was thinking. There are so many teachers out there, right, that this would be so good for. You could really personalize the schoolhouse or the border. And I'm going to do a blog again later this afternoon about just teachers in general. And I'm going to do a blog that sort of poses the question, was there a teacher in your life, or is there a teacher in your life who changed your life, who really set you on a different trajectory or pushed you along or did something above and beyond what money pays for? Because for me there was one, and I think for most people there is one. So that'll be the theme of the blog that comes out later today. What is my necklace? Thank you for asking, Christine. It It is a hooked thing that I did a video of. No, I did a post of, not a video, ages ago. Let me see if I can take it off and show it. I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to take time to tell you this because Kira asked and a couple other people wrote. I'm going to show you this thing, right? It's a little hooked rug. And what it is, trying not to get my armpit in the camera because I'm not that sure about that. Thanks, Suze. So it's a little hooked rug, and what it is I got this thing from Etsy, right? It's quite big. It's probably 2 inches. It's a mini hoop. So on Etsy, if you search for mini hoop or miniature hoop, it's actually a tiny, tiny hoop that comes like this with the frame that came off, really well made. It has a little screw in it, right? I put this little ring, this little piece of hardware in here to put a necklace through, but it comes like this with the little screw and the back. And inside, there was a second piece that fit right inside this circle. So I bought a bunch of these hoops a few Christmases ago on Etsy. And I did cross-stitch on them, like the first letter of people's names as Christmas tags, right? So they were under the Christmas tree. And I had a few left over. So I took this big one because they come in different sizes. And they come as circles, squares, rectangles, ovals, triangles, everything. But I liked what looked like a real hoop. And I took a piece of monk's cloth, like a tiny, tiny piece, and I hooked it. And then I wrapped the edges around, and I don't normally touch glue. You know, I'd never recommend touching glue, but I glued the edges around the back of the inside piece, right? Pushed it way in there, and then glued the back piece, the second circle piece they give you. That's the real back piece. Glued that on to hide the edges of the monk's cloth, just like a real piece. So these are on Etsy, mini or miniature hoops. They're super cheap. They're maybe $2 each. And you can do something like this. It's fiddly to the point of maddening, right? Because it's so small. But I was very happy with the result. You can't do much with rug hooking on it, even a small cut, because it's still small. But I did a bit of an abstract, and I wore it with my I thought was my fairly sort of Mexican style outfit today. Questionable. Best I could do. But I thought that went really well with it. So if you're interested in doing that, it's a very, very easy project. And I got mine on Etsy, and they were super cheap. So should we get into the content?
Yes, let's
talk about this book. And again, Charlotte Bell is going to join us in about 15 minutes on Zoom. And the information is in here. If you are having any trouble, just email me at ribboncandyhooking@gmail.com. I have my phone on a lever right here. We got technology all around us today, so you can ask her questions. But this is a really beautiful book called Rich Roots. The link to this book is also in this video. So Charlotte wrote this book in 2015, and it is a sort of combination of, it's a photo journey. Showing life in this particular part of Mexico where this group called La Rancheritas live and make the most beautiful hooked rugs in a true folk art tradition. It's a lot about photography and a lot of hooked rugs to show what life is in that area. So it's a beautiful book. If you get bored, just let us know because you can always go and come back. Not that I don't want you here.
I will. I need some gum because that's what I basically do all day.
Get some gum sustenance. So it is a bit of a memoir, but it's told mostly with hooked rugs. So I felt it was super relevant for us. And then I went on and found their website, the Rug Project, La Rancheritas. All this info should be in the description. And found their website. It's possible to buy rugs. I posted some of the rugs that are now available on our Facebook group, Rug Hooking and Punch Needle Club. I didn't do anything with prices and links yet, but I'll do that with you if you want to, or you can go directly to Charlotte. I'm obviously not taking any cuts from a charity. That's not at all what I do, but if you need me to direct you to her personally or to the site, or you can't find her phone number, I can help with all that stuff. If you want to either make a donation, buy rugs, anything like that. But in the meantime, this book has been wonderful bedtime reading for me. Because it is a beautiful, Charlotte has done all these great photos too, a beautiful journey through an area. Now be quiet while I do commentary, honey. A beautiful journey through an area that I know nothing about and I have never been to. So at the beginning of the book, I'm gonna do something of a book review now and show you a lot of hooked rugs in the meantime. So it's a very sort of literary prose feel to it, very sort of poetical book, beautifully written, beautiful language, very, very intimate firsthand account of life here. And so she talks about at the beginning of the book, leading right in, little things about being in this community that make it different from, for example, the United States. About a horse-drawn plow that's running through the fields as opposed to a machine, and the jingling of the harness. And she mentions all of these sort of evocative little details, little nuances that are, for me, hard to relate to because life is so different here. But I sort of long for these beautiful little touches that the book is filled with. She talks about how this group of people are the Otomi people, O-T-O-M-I, as opposed to Aztec, because I mean, my first thought was if they are in Mexico, they must be Aztec. That's not true, right? This is a different sort of people, entirely different origins, completely different. And that in itself for me was like a wake-up call because I did not even know that. But she talks a lot at the beginning about like the altitude at 6,500 feet. The air does not hold the heat, so it's cool in the shade. The corn plants that they are always sort of harvesting, the big puffy clouds. She talks about life the way it looks. And then she shows us things like this. You know, somebody did this hooked rug that shows the harvesting of the corn. And all of the rugs have this really distinctive sort of folk feel, real folk perspective, which is things are, you know, kind of shape-wise exaggerated, very charming. And the butterfly in the distance, really charming. So she talks about the place first. She does lots of beautiful photos of people, right? She's so close to some of the people. She mentions that she has godchildren there because they have a place there now. She talks about the immediate place that she is in such beautiful language. And then she talks about Mexico in general. And again, I've never been. I've always wanted to go to South America, and I just have not gone yet. Keep thinking I want to go to Buenos Aires, but now I'm thinking I want to go right to Mexico, to where this book is set. So she talks about how her and her husband went in 1994 to a place that thousands of North Americans go to called San Miguel de Allende. I'm sorry for my pronunciation. I'm not a Spanish speaker. I have got French, Dutch, and that's in English, of course, but Spanish for me is like a blackout. But hopefully you understand what I mean. So she says that this particular area has been popular since the 1940s when the American named Sterling Dickinson went there and opened his school. So maybe that's a different episode because that's not related to rugs, but that is so interesting. It's an interesting part of art history. So this is that immediate area. And she says she stayed there for a month, and by the end of their month-long stay, they purchased the last cheap lot in San Miguel. And the next year they built a house there. So she really is truly ensconced in part of the community. She shows us on some of these pages, I get the coffee out of the way, beautiful images like this. And, you know, she mentioned, we're going to have to ask her, let me make sure it's in focus. We're going to have to ask her on Zoom. She mentioned that if some of the, hold on, I'm just getting my logistics set here. She mentioned that if some of the images were sold out, that it's possible to ask for them to be another one made, because they do make multiples, or they can make multiples of their designs. But she shows us some images that are just so amazing, folky and amazing. Now this church is in a lot of these rugs, and I think this is, where is it? I think this is the church in real life. Very beautiful sort of colonial, Mexican colonial town. So colonial in terms of the Spanish settling, right? Not, of course, like the English, like colonial New England. Colonial Spain. So this, I think this is more like 500, the year 500 as opposed to like 1620. So beautiful colonial city with buildings going back hundreds of years. Lots to work with. Also these, I missed showing these. This sort of very sort of, I don't want to say Day of the Dead because that's a bit more specific, the skeleton. You know, all of these symbols of time, like the scythe or the sickle or whatever it is, and like the world, I guess, symbols of time. And then this really beautiful sort of nude with the, I think those are calla lilies. Good morning, Carol. So really beautiful. She talks a lot about San Miguel and how it's a UNESCO site now, World Heritage Site. I'm not surprised. colonial architecture, urban sophistication, growing modernity, moving into modern times fast, I'm sure, probably too fast for comfort. But she talks about a lot about the place, and then she gets into the countryside. And with every new thing that in the history, with every new thing she talks about, she shows you rugs and rugs and rugs, right? Oh, Kirsten says, I visited San Miguel in the 1990s. Lovely town where everyone walks the main courtyard every Sunday night. Oh, what a sweet tradition. That reminds me of the Italians going out after dinner, taking a good old walk around. That is so nice. She talks a lot in this book about life being outside. And house is really for sleep or for watching shows on TV. But outside is where a lot of work gets done. And if you can, for example, do chores outside, like folding laundry or doing laundry or washing or anything, if it can be done outside on the patio, it will be done outside on the patio. So that's so different. We're so private in this country. We're so interior, And my mother said the other day when we were traveling back and forth to Maine for that class, she said something like, I forget where you were reading it, Mom, but something about how like the idea of Americana, like Main Street Americana, like old school, the good old golden days, right? That kind of ended when the front porch got taken off and the back patio or the back porch was built, right? And that is really true. Without the front sort of porch where people would sit and greet each other and acknowledge each other's existence, that's kind of gone. And instead, people built a porch or a deck in the back of the house, all fenced in, where they would have total privacy. So our culture has gone in the opposite direction in the last generation, more toward privacy, more toward being interior, more toward shutting people out. But in other cultures, in Europe and in South America, obviously it's still very much the tradition and the norm to spend the majority of your day outside and to be living in very tight, open communities without very much privacy at all. I think that's a really, that would be a very nice and welcome change if we went more that way. Of course, my neighborhood is filled with the Stepford wives, so I don't know that I would want to greet them from the front porch. But here's another beauty. Love the sort of cactus. We'll talk about that in a minute. Christine says, that's so true. My dad's neighborhood, everyone hung out on their front porch. It's so true, isn't it? I mean, it's such, and it's like the front porch seems like such a happy medium to me, because it's like, it's one thing when, for example, when we lived in Rhode Island, I remember neighbors came by all the time. The welcome wagon came while we were like unpacking the moving truck. But, it's one thing when neighbors come all the time and want to stay indefinitely. That's a real particular situation that you have to, manage. Do I have time for it? Am I working from home? Are there kids? Are there errands? Or am I missing out on life? Or am I actually enjoying unexpected entertaining? That's always like a kind of fine line, isn't it? But when you're sitting out on your porch, you're really out there to look and to see. You're probably not staring into the sky deciding what looks like a walrus and what looks like a Cadillac. You're probably like looking at people passing by and saying, good to see you. How's it going? Has your son managed to get into school yet? What's going on in your family? I mean, that's kind of, you're like a calling card, right? You're sitting out there kind of waiting to get the news and share and relate to people. I think we really need that now that we have been so isolated for so long. I am seeing that people have lost the ability to relate to other people, and it is scary. It is scary. I don't just mean in politics. I mean in the grocery store. So we'll see what happens next, right? So then she talks about the descendants of the Otami. She talks about the history of who these people were, unrelated to the Aztecs, fierce warriors, excellent weavers, builders of pyramids, right? Sometimes we forget that like the indigenous people of South America were huge builders, and they built permanent buildings, right? You can look at Aztec, Mayan ruins and pyramids and cities, and they are like glittering, gold-colored, beautiful block-made permanent structures. We tend, I think, to forget about the glorious past in this part of the country. So a lot of this is about history and tradition, and she does show quite a lot of beautiful rugs along the way. I'll show you a couple more. She goes into the second chapter away from the countryside and the town and into the work life, right? Work is a huge part of life for this group of people. Oh, I just want to catch up on the comments. Patricia says, hi, Donna. Wow, thanks for your service. Oh, I missed that. I'm going to go back up and see. Oh, shoot. There we go. Let me just catch up on the comments. I hate missing something that y'all are talking about. Okay. Oh, you're a police officer in Knoxville. Oh my gosh. Yep, thank you so much. That is so nice. I love to know what people do, particularly service jobs, so we can really say thank you. That is so nice. I missed all that. I'm so sorry. Got my head in a book as usual, right? And let me see. And my mom says, my best childhood memories were sitting out on the front porch with my mom and my dad and brothers and sisters every night with neighbors dropping by to chat. So lovely. It is so lovely. Yeah, because the porch is usually covered too, so you can be out there in all weather. You can be out there at night. What I remember about that porch, Mom, were those huge, hairy jumping spiders that whenever you walked out of the door and along the porch, they would jump and attach themselves to your body. Everyone says spiders are afraid of people. They don't want to get on you. My experience with spiders is if there's one within like a 3-foot radius, it's like on my body, probably my head. But those are wonderful memories, and I want a porch more than ever. I really do. So she gets into talking about work, and then she shows, I mean, beautiful, beautiful photographs. I don't want to not say anything about her gorgeous photographs, but I really want to look at these rugs. Because for every subject that she talks about, there's going to be a gorgeous rug. Let me bring you in focus. There we go. And you know, these ladies are making the rugs with no frame. They're making them with a hook, but with no frame, right on the lap or the table. And then look at this beauty. Isn't that gorgeous? I wonder what that little animal is out in front there. Spiders on the porch or in your bed. Yeah, they're always in the bed too, under the covers. Isn't that sweet though? What a great piece. You know, I love the use of outlining in some places, not all. You know, the handling of the man in this bottom picture is so good, isn't it? I mean, just his body language with the way that his satchel is slung is so good. The two little pink houses, really good. Oh, I hope I didn't scare Teddy off. I took his gum away from him because he was making too much noise, and now he's disappeared. I'm going to have to see what he's up to. We'll see. We'll see in a minute. I'll give him a shout. And then she talks about the harvest and, you know, different, it's like she's going through the cycle of life here and the really important and beautiful things about this community that are different than, for example, ours. So in hers, she's in Texas. So, you know, it's just such a little vacation going through a book like this and seeing all these images. It's a different world. I mean, it really is. But she shows some beautiful rugs that the ladies have made of the harvest. So, and you can see the difference of color. Very, very folk. It really is, isn't it? I mean, it's so good. All this directional hooking, this natural flair for color that so many of the women have. I think this last one here is like praying for rain, right? Maybe smoking, praying for rain. I know we have traditions like that in North America too, because it's starting to rain. So really interesting insight into a completely different life, right? She talks about raising animals, and I really liked this part because in a lot of the rugs that are currently available and will be available from their website, you know, there are a lot of animals in them because, again, life is outdoors and life is with animals. So she talks about the history of some of these animals, and I found it super, as a person who loves history, I found it super interesting to know that, for example, goats were the first domesticated animals in the world, beginning about 10,000 years ago, but they are not indigenous to Mexico. They were brought to the New World by the Spanish. And then she goes on to talk about other animals who were also brought to the New World by the Spanish, right? Christopher Columbus era. And it's super interesting. We'll talk about that. Let me first show you the goat. It's a really cute one. I don't want to miss it. A lot of the eyes on the animals are red. I'm not sure if that's just for emphasis, but it is good. Everything about these rugs. I think the color, the shape, just the energy of them. It's just good. Yeah, so then she talks about the trusty burro. She says the first donkeys came to the Americas on supply ships with the second voyage of Christopher Columbus. So donkeys, you know, and I bought one of her donkey rugs. It was a burro, and the reason I bought it was because I remember my parents honeymooned in Portugal, in Spain, I think, right, Mom? And they had we used to have slideshows like every week in our house when we were growing up. And there were lots of pictures of burros, and as real pack animals, right? Just loaded with stuff, carpets, and that'd be nice now. But yeah, and these animals were also brought so early in the 15th century to North America, South America. I just think it's remarkable. I love the, flowers in the background. I'm looking at them too, the cactus. Just the choices for outlining. Look at this pig going to town on what looks like Indian corn, right? How cute is that? And then another little one being fed by little guy. Just beautiful images of animals. Very simple. Simple lines like what we were saying on Cocktail Time. Very simple lines. She talks about the chicken. There's a lot of chicken rugs, and they are gorgeous. Chickens are another animal brought to Mexico with the Spanish because the turkey is the only native fowl to the Americas. Interesting, right? I mean, that makes sense, but interesting. Never thought of it. Look at these images of the turkeys. First of all, this great photograph she did with like cactuses in the background, right? What are they using for backing? That's a great question. It looks in some pictures like they're using feed sack, and it looks in other pictures like they're using something colored, some kind of colored mesh. And it doesn't say. So we're going to have to ask Charlotte when she's on Zoom later, because in a couple of the pictures at the back I'll show you, it really looked like it was even like a plastic kind of a mesh. I just couldn't tell, but I thought it would be interesting. Oh, you love these rugs, Patricia? Yeah, let's find out, Beverly. We need to find something like that out. That's really important. Because they're not, I don't think they're getting supplies. I think they're making it work, Look at these great images of chickens. I mean, is this crazy? You know what I love is the ones with the little eggs hatching and there being like multiple little chickens kicking around. So good, isn't it? Hey, Teddy! Let's see if I can bring him back. I feel bad about the gum. And then she talks about the horse. Before Columbus, there were no horses in the entire North or South American continent. And she says that Mexicans are the original cowboys. So interesting, right? I mean, this makes perfect sense. This makes perfect sense. I think the idea of a man on a horse is sort of hijacked by the American West. Not so. Mexicans are the first actual cowboys. A couple of beautiful rugs with horses. It is great, Patricia. I put the link to it in here because she said ordering it on Amazon is good. I'm not sure if it's a print on demand or what, but they still get a kickback from it. And then Charlotte passes it on, of course, passes money on to the girls. But it is a really fun book. I mean, there's just so many rugs in it. I couldn't understand when I saw this on eBay. I didn't realize it was on Amazon. I should have checked. I wasn't searching it the right way. And of course, Amazon is pretty sort of phonetically obsessive, right? So if it's not exactly right, put in Rich Roots and I got all kinds of hair stuff, put in Rich Roots book and I got like nothing. But I put in Rich Roots Charlotte Bell and I finally got something super irritating and frustrating. But it is a great book. And on Amazon, it's a lot cheaper than what I paid for it. But when I got it, I thought, what is this going to be about? And then when I started going through it, I thought, wow, these people, these women are making rugs for basically every facet of their lives. And how did I not know about this book already? This is like such a huge, I don't want to say breakthrough, but it's just, it's a major moment in rug hooking. It's so interesting to know what people are doing in other parts of the world. Even, rug hooking being a North American craft, that aside, it's so interesting and important to follow and know what people are doing with scraps and a hook in other parts of the world because it's directly related to what we do. It makes us a world community, and that's a good feeling, right? Hey, Teddy, come on back, handsome. I'm sure everybody misses you. You can do your stuff with your gum. Come around this way.
I mean, it's not really because I was kind of getting a little bored. So
oh, okay. That makes me feel better. So then she talks about, you might be interested in this stuff, though. Then she talks about oxen and cows. Two more animals brought to Mexico by the Spanish were the cow and the ox. Teddy, did you know that so many animals, including like donkeys, horses, cows, chickens, no, not humans, were brought to like North America and South America from Europe? Like they weren't born here? Like the only bird that was born in North America is the turkey. Like a big fowl, like that you would eat. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Getting off on a tangent.
Yes.
But yeah, she talks about oxen and cows because, of course, these are more pulling animals, right? And more, as a result, of course, more beautiful rugs. I mean, how can you beat rugs that look like this? This is so good. It's just so good. And again, always outside. Isn't that interesting?
Maybe aside from your rugs, Mom.
What's that?
Maybe the only rug that could actually beat that one are yours.
That's a nice compliment, Ted. I like some of mine. I usually like other people's more. And then they talk about food, and this is interesting too for someone who's constantly hungry. Obviously, just to keep putting more weight on.
I
Food.
love food.
Yeah, that's gum. I guess that's food. Corn, beans, squash, nopal, cheese, chili, and pulque. These are the main foods. Corn, tomatoes, chocolate, bell peppers, avocados, papayas, chilies, sweet peppers, squash, potatoes, and peanuts were all unknown in Europe and Asia until the Spanish and Portuguese brought them back from Mexico in the 1500s. Whoa. Now that is interesting.
Yes.
That is a great contribution to like world cuisine, isn't it? Coming from South America. That is like basically all of my favorite foods. And they talk about how they still eat a basic diet of tortillas and beans is eaten every day. So interesting, right? So she's showing beautiful pictures of like the kinds of foods they're eating constantly. And then stuff like this, cooking. Patricia. Teddy always says something so nice.
I actually Googled your channel up on Google, and your face actually appeared, and Jocelyn, but I did not see myself.
Oh, you didn't see yourself? We'll have to make sure your face appears on Google too. There you go. There you
So
go.
if any fans watching, please put my face on Google.
That's right. We need your face too.
I'll give you a good Google face.
Is that a good Google face? Two hey okay fingers.
Yes.
And she talks about corn. I got to show you these. I just have to show you the rugs. They're so good. Somebody's doing this blue background that I think is just masterly. Another plow in the fields. I mean, it's so interesting when you think about it. You know, these women are making rugs without a frame, and in terms of design, they're not using commercial patterns. They're just coming up with designs based on what day-to-day life looks like, what's around them. I mean, it's so interesting, and isn't it such a kind of eye-opener and a kind of push, right? I'm trying to think of a nice word.
You still have your necklace on.
I do. Kind of a push. You know, we get so crazy about having the best hook, the best frame, the best backing, the right hook for the size strips, the right cutter. We get so crazy about everything that has to do with rug hooking. These people are just using scraps. They have one hook, and they're hooking these beautiful rugs on their laps without a pattern. So it's just like a weird way. Looking at this book makes me feel like the universe is reminding me, you make it into too big of a deal, right? It's easy. This is not rocket surgery. You can do this. They're not over agonizing about the height of their loops or the shading. They're just documenting their lives by making these beautiful images that just come to them. And they're not saying to themselves, I'm not a good enough artist to do it myself. They're just doing it, right? That song that used to like from the cartoon, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm just doing it. Remember?
No, not really.
It was a good like motto for life. Sometimes you're just overthinking it and you just need to do it, right? This is another beautiful one. The softened corn, they're talking about corn still. The corn is rinsed 2 times and then ground into masa, M-A-S-A. Families continue to use the ancient stone, matate. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong too. But yeah, beautiful pictures like this, right? And then a nice image like this. Let me bring it back here. There we go. It's just so cool to see rugs where people are performing like daily activities, right? I mean, you see this, for example, in Victorian paintings. You see women in the kitchen, I mean, helping out the staff, or doing needlework or handwork or whatever. But these are beautiful pictures of women using, for example, in the picture I just showed you, this is like our equivalent of the mortar and pestle, right? So they're using this, I forget what it's called, I just said it a second ago, but it's like a big stone base. And they're rolling the same way and grinding. It's the same way that we would with a mortar and pestle. It's just a different tool. different shape, different size, and they call it something different. But again, documenting daily life, that's what folk art is about, isn't it? We get very far away from that when we turn into artistes with a capital A and maybe even an E at the end. But this is all possible if you're a beginner and you're looking at this as a craft that you might like. Don't make any noise, honey. That's why I had to throw them across the room. And I thought this was an interesting side note because this isn't to do with rug hooking, but it got me going. And a pattern. They have special days where they dye their tortillas with food coloring. And I thought, whoa, that reminds me of the, I'm going to get to those, what are they called, like the sewer caps? What are those things? Manhole covers. You know, but again, a design like this is just like, where's my thing? Ted, where's my thing? Right here. Like this, right? That I took out that day from the flea market. I don't think I showed you this, to make little hoosie-hazies, right? That kind of thing.
Waffle maker.
Kind of I think it's called a Passali or something like that, Passali cookie. Don't poke my eye out with this, though. Careful with that. So I just thought that was interesting in terms of design to Google these tortillas, these flour tortillas. These are purple ones used for special occasions. Just thought, how cool is that? How cool is that? Have a rug cooking party and put out all printed tortillas with a little bit of cheese and beans in them.
I think this is what does it, right?
You know what? I think that is what does it. I think they probably have a different tool. I'm not sure. I don't know what kind of tool they're working with, but it certainly was a good result. And then, you know what, this is, again, just interesting stuff this book is just full of interesting stuff. They're talking about food still, and they're talking about the prickly pear, right? And my only reference to the prickly pear is from Disney's Jungle Book, right? Which is supposed to be set in India where they wouldn't have, there are no prickly pear. Interesting and inconsistent, but
Here,
there are.
Check if there's toast.
Okay.
Check if there's toast.
Okay, yeah, make some toast, but don't make it on that thing because that thing is probably going to poison you. That's super old and it's never been cleaned.
I won't make it on this.
Okay.
I'll make it myself.
Yeah, make it in the toaster. So the prickly pear is in this part of Mexico. It's called the nopal cactus, and some of these cactuses people are eating. I didn't know that. You probably knew that. I didn't know that. The nopal produces a fruit called tuna, like the fish, and they eat it. It's one of the things they eat all the time. I can imagine with the heat and working all day, not wanting to go home like at intervals in the middle of the day inside your house to turn on devices that create more heat, right? So I think a lot of life is about having a sort of picnic and having cold food throughout the day as you go because it's practical. And the cactus is one of those things. So for example, they're showing the cactus. Come over here. I'm going to move this a little bit. Got some logistical things going on. So that's like the cactus that they're cutting and eating, but then they make these beautiful inspiration pieces based on it, right? There's a lot of cactus pieces on their site, incidentally. I mean, aren't these great? He's standing on a cactus there. Look at this blue cactus. I mean, isn't that fantastic? All these little moments of life, right? Eating the tuna out of the cactus. Thought those were just exquisite. Learning all kinds of things with this book. Yeah, and then she talks about a picnic in the country and all the foods they eat. It's just, it's so fresh. It's not like the Tex-Mex that I eat at our local restaurant, you know. The picnic in the country chapter is just gorgeous. Isn't that a great image? Oh, Patricia says, I dyed yarn from a prickly pear my daughter sent up from Texas. I don't get a lot of color, but it dyes a pretty pink. Isn't that interesting? Thank you for adding that. That is super interesting. I would love to see, next time you do that, or if you have the pink, can you post a photo? I would just love to know what color the prickly pear makes. That was almost a tongue twister. Almost. Prickly pear produces. For flavoring, herbs are gathered from the countryside. The villagers have a broad knowledge of edible and medicinal plants. Fire-roasted corn accompanies the cooked cactus. That is so neat, isn't it? That gives me crazy sort of wanderlust. And this other thing, this is called agua, meal, and pulque, like pulp, but pulque. And